Would you go over to someone's house that you just met and walk around in your underwear? Would you do that? No, because that'd be uncomfortable. But you might say to yourself, but Arel, I walk around in my underwear in my own home. How come I can't do that in a stranger? Because clearly that's not the right thing to do. Why am I sharing that with you? Well, it's pretty simple. A lot of people don't understand the difference between a self-hosted presentation versus a presentation where you're a guest of someone. I'm going to break down the difference between those two types of presentations and why you cannot act the same way in those presentations for the same reason that you can't walk around in your underwear in someone's house that you just walked into. Let's go ahead and break it down. So there are two types of events, okay? Two types of events. We have the self-hosted event, okay? The self-hosted event. And then we have the guest speaker, okay? Guest speaker. And as always, do not judge my handwriting, people. I know there's always going to be someone out there like, oh my goodness, that is the most disgusting handwriting I've ever seen in my life. And I would say to you, you were correct, but that's just what we're working with, baby. So we're going to keep it moving, all right? So there's two types of events. There's a self-hosted event, and then there is a guest speaker event. The skill sets needed to succeed in these two events are wildly different. Now, earlier in this video, I talked about if you are going over someone's house, let's say you get invited over someone's house for the first time. Just because you're comfortable enough to be in your own home to like walk around in your underoos doesn't mean you should walk around in tighty whities in someone's house you just met. That's a quick way to never be invited again, right? That makes perfect sense. That shouldn't be weird to you. So it's easy to grasp. But here's what happens. When I talk to, people who are coaches or consultants or entrepreneurs, executives, people who want to grow their business with speaking, they look at every event as a self-hosted event, even when they're a guest speaker, and they fail. When I work with my clients, one of the biggest things I help them understand is what are the distinct differences between these two dynamics and how you can succeed as a speaker regardless of what it is. So let's break down a self-hosted event. Now, a self-hosted event might be something like a webinar, okay? So let's say you're running some Facebook ads and you're driving people to watch a webinar. Okay, so that's one option. And the other option is like you rent out like a ballroom in a hotel or something and you sell tickets to the event and you have a live event, okay? But you're fitting the bill, okay? So the webinar is, this is your house. You put out the ads, you put out the marketing, and you're driving people to this webinar and they're coming to you to see your event. You foot the bill for that ad spend, the web hosting and all that stuff, okay? When you're doing this live event that you're doing yourself, you're footing the bill. So you're paying for the ballroom, you're paying for the, food and drinks and all this stuff. So because you paid for all of this, a self-hosted event is like your home, okay? Now, the easy way to think about your home is who pays the bills in your home? Well, I would assume you do, right? So when you are footing the bill, you have control. You ever have your parent when you was a kid say, as long as I pay the bills in this house, you will do what I say? I don't know why parents say that. I feel like that's the worst argument in the world. If you're a parent, please stop saying that to your kids. They should listen to you because they love and respect you, not because you pay the bills. But nonetheless, we as parents, we think that. I have two boys. I love them to death. I would hope they don't listen to me simply because I pay the bills. I hope they listen to me because they love and respect their daddy. Okay. But anyway, there's just this innate ability to believe, well, if I pay for the bills and I pay for everything, you will do things my way. Well, that works really well at a self-hosted event. So if you have a webinar, you can make a pitch, you can do sales, you can train, speak, motivate, entertain, and at the end, you can let people know about, hey, at the back of the room, you can go ahead and buy from me, or hey, let's set up and sell and, sell, and sell, right? No problem. Now, obviously, there's a way to do that that's good and a way to do that's bad. When I work with my clients, a lot of people don't realize that there's a really elegant way that's about shifting people's perspective so that they decide for themselves that they want to work with you versus what most people do, which is try to force people to buy. It's kind of like the difference between if you want to buy something and you go online and you research it and you decide you want to buy it and you're choosing which one, then you buy it. That's a different buying experience than someone who's knocking on your door as a door-to-door salesperson. Now, again, both of those can be effective, but the experience of someone knocking on your door and selling you feels emotionally different than you deciding for yourself you want something and going through the necessary steps to make it happen, okay? This is just because I want you to grasp this idea because it's so powerful, right? So when you foot the bill, self-hosted, no problem with selling. Now, when you're a guest speaker, unless it is predetermined that you are doing a pitch and you are doing a, revenue split, okay? Unless that is predetermined, if you go into self-hosted sales mode as a guest speaker, that is the quickest, fastest way to get blackballed, to not get invited back, and to cause people to be upset, okay? Now, there are certain events where, like, let's say I am doing a self-hosted event and I invite you to be there and it's totally cool and totally part of the culture for you to do a pitch. Typically what happens if you do a pitch from the stage, whatever you sell on my stage, you give me, say, like a 50% split, right? That's usually in like the info marketing world, the infopreneur world, the coaching consulting world. However, if you're speaking at an event like an association or speaking at an event like a conference for a major organization, if you go up on the stage of, you know, the Association of Marketing Professionals of America and do this great keynote, and then you go into a pitch, that's an easy way for everyone to be like, that's distasteful. It's the same way of walking into someone's house that you just met for the first time and jumping into your underwear because that's what makes you feel uncomfortable and that's how you like to do things. No, you're in someone else's house. You got to show them respect. So you can't go into a hardcore pitch. You can't go into hardcore sales, but there are still ways to use this event to get business and grow sales and do that stuff. So let's break down what that is. Now, the very first thing I recommend you do, and one of the things that I work with my clients for understanding, is that when you're a guest speaker, you're not paying any of the bills. You didn't pay for the audience to be there. You didn't pay for the room. You didn't pay for the ballroom. You didn't pay for anything. You're just showing up. So you got to be respectful of your guest, of your host, okay? So think about this. If I'm going to your house for a dinner and you invite me to the dinner, there's certain questions I might want to ask, like, you know, is it a formal dinner? Should I get dressed up? I put on my little suit here for you because I want to, you know, be nice. Or do you wear, you know, comfortable jeans or something like that, right? And try to match them both like, you know what I'm doing here, right? But the point is, you'd find out things like, what's the dress code? Should I bring anything? So you can be a good guest for the host, okay? Does that make sense so far? I hope it does. Now, if you are a good guest, then your host is happy. Now, obviously, the host wants you to be happy as their guest. So how do you make your host happy if you're a guest speaker? Well, it's very simple. We recommend all of our clients use a pre-event questionnaire and a pre-event meeting. That pre-event meeting is going to ask questions like, what are your goals for this event? Why do you want to bring me in? If you could wave a magic wand over it, what would you like to see happen because this event happened? What is the goal for my particular portion of the presentation? How can we help them? What do they go through? I'm finding out all the goals. What would make this event a success for the host? I'm finding out what their goals are in a pre-event questionnaire and pre-event meeting. Because if I understand my host goal, when I go up there and present, I can make sure I'm knocking it out the park for my host. Because you have two audiences, my friend, when you're a guest speaker. The first audience is the physical people in the room, or if you're speaking virtually, the people watching you on the screen. The second audience is the host. That's an important, even if it's one person, that one person has the ability to invite you back, refer you to people, and help you perpetually grow your speaking business. So if you don't take care of the host, you're not being a good guest. It doesn't matter how good you are as a speaker. You with me so far? This is really important because most people miss this. So if you can understand what the host goals are, one of the first things you do as a guest speaker is make sure the presentation you put together helps meet the goals of that host. And it could be as simple as adding a simple statement like, hey, if this has been a great event, make sure you sign up for next year's event because it's going to be even better than this one. Assuming that the host goal is to get people to attend this event, love it so much, they sign up for the next one at the event. So it could be just a simple sentence like that, but then the host is super happy. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Arel, that makes the host happy, but what about me? If I'm going there to speak and I'm either not getting paid because I'm donating my time, or even if I'm getting paid, I know the real money, which is true, I don't care what anyone tells you, the real money comes on the back end. Any speaking engagement, I get paid on the front end, and I love getting paid to speak. My perfect scenario, by the way, is I get paid to speak to a group of people who can then work with me and become my clients, and I get paid to get clients, and I get paid to be a thought leader, and I get paid to build my brand, and I get paid to share the things that I love. Now, here's what I tell you. Let's say I speak for free, and I still do that. I get to do something I love, share information that I love, impact people that I love, build my brand, build my thought leadership, and get business on the back end. That's what happens when I speak many of the time. And tell me, what's better than that? You know what the answer is? Nothing. Nothing. Okay. So what do you do for yourself? You want to do simple things. There's many, many, many things. I kind of like to think of them as like different drops of water from rain. A lot of different drops of rain can create a flood, can water a garden, can be beautiful, can not be enough. So you want to think about getting the right types of drops for your rain shower in your presentation. So I might say things in my presentation like, when I work with X, okay? So when I work with X, and X is like your client, and then use that to lead into telling a story. Now, a lot of people, let's say I wanted to tell a story about, let's say you are someone who helps people grow their sales. Okay, let's say that's what you do. And your business has the greatest software in the world to help people understand their analytics to help them grow their sales. Okay, making this up for illustrative purposes. Instead of just telling a story about how using your data helps people grow sales, you premise it with a simple statement that says, hey, when I work with, I'm gonna make this up here, okay? When I work with, geez Louise, why can't I think of a good example? Let's just say someone who wants to increase their sales. People who sell stools, okay? You are a stool, you sell bar stools, and you use certain technology. This is going in a weird place, but it's still gonna work, okay? So let's say you help people who sell bar stools to bars sell more bar stools, because you got this dope software that can tell when stools are worn out because there's so many booties sitting on them and they're gonna need a new seat. That's actually not a bad idea. If you do that, let me know, because that's actually a pretty cool idea. And if you want to run with that, feel free to make a few dollars. Just send me a stool. Okay, so let's say you help those people. So instead of just saying, hey, most bar owners aren't keeping track of how many people are coming into their bar, and then they have wear and tear on their bar stools, and then they have cracked, crappy looking stools, and it's bad for their brand, and la 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 la. Instead, we have this software that helps you track it, right? Which is really, really cool. Here's how it works. Like, that's one way to kind of demonstrate who you are and what you do. Or you can tell a story. When I work with, or when we, right? I usually like the word we as a pronoun for lots of reasons we won't get into today. But when we work with bar owners to help them maximize their profit by having the right equipment, here's what we've noticed. Most bar owners aren't keeping track of how many people are coming into the door. So they're not keeping track of how many butts are sitting on their seats, and they're not keeping, right? So what you're doing is you're premising a story with letting people know who is your ideal client, and you work with them. Now, at no point did you say you must work with me. At no point did you say I am selling this software and all this kind of jazz. You're using it as a backdrop to explain why more bar owners should be keeping track of how many people are coming into their establishment so that they can keep better track of the wear and tear on their equipment, assuming that's actually a good business idea. Again, this is just for illustrative purposes. So if my idea, like my keynote's idea, is to express to people why keeping track of people coming in the door is a really important idea that most bar owners are missing, that alone impacts and improves the lives of my audience because I'm sharing this good message with them, right? But when I premise it, and there's lots of other things you can do that by the time you're done, your ideal client is going, I need to work with this person, okay? But this is just an example of one of them, okay? When I work with X, or when we work with X, X is your ideal client, here's what we've done to help them, support them, and it goes on and so forth, okay? So you lead into a story you'll tell that demonstrates the power of the presentation you want to give, but also causes your ideal audience, your ideal client in the audience to say, hey, that's me. That's really powerful. Do you get that? So if you do that in the right way, by the time you're done, people will email you, people will come up and talk to you and ask you to work with them. It's super powerful. And your host is never unhappy because all you were doing was giving context and background to the ideas that you were helping them so that they can achieve their goal. Do you see that? That's powerful. That's doing it in the right way. That's acting like a good guest in someone's house versus a self-hosted event. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Now, if you are someone that wants to grow your business and you are a coach, a consultant, a business owner, an executive, and you want to use speaking the right way, whether self-hosted or as a guest speaker, so you can impact more lives, go to arelmoody.com/talk. You can click on the link that you see right here on your screen or click on the link in the description. Set up a time to talk with either me or someone from my team, and we will break down the plan and the strategy and how you can use speaking, whether in webinar format or public speaking format or virtual keynote as self-hosted or guest speaker, so that you can create a business where you're going out there impacting lives, sharing messages that are important to you, and the byproduct of doing it in the right way is you build your brand, you become a thought leader, you get high quality clients that are chasing you versus you chasing them. There is little other medium in the world that is so powerful as public speaking to have your ideal audience chasing you after they're hearing your message when you put it together in the right way. And trust me, there's a right way to do this and there's a wrong way. Most people who are doing it out there, they've never take time to think about it. They're doing it the wrong way. They putting their underwear on at their guest house. Now, if you're someone who says, but Arel, I like to wear my underwear at people's houses. That's how I like to roll. Please don't schedule a call with me. If you're going to go in a stranger's house for the first time and you're going to wear underwear and you that kind of heathen, I ain't interested in your call, baby. But if you're someone who genuinely has a business where you help people and you can make a difference and you're not leveraging speaking the way that you want to, go ahead and schedule a call with me or someone from my team at arelmoody.com/talk. We'd love to connect with you and talk with you and show you how you can leverage the beautiful art form of public speaking to truly grow your business faster and more powerfully than anything else there is on the planet. So go over to that link. I hope you like this video. I'll see you in the next one, as long as you stay awesome.